Welcome to Kinda Loopy. This is a podcast about knitting and crochet and some of the loopiness of my life. This one's actually going to be a lot about the loopiness of my life. My name is Sarah, and I am a knitter with a capital K, a crocheter with a lowercase c, and I'm coming to you from Southeast Tennessee on March 8th. This episode will go out March 10th, but today is March 8th, Sunday, and it is feeling pretty springy out. So I've got my Digory tee on. This is a Knitty McPurly design, and this is using Knitty McPurly yarn, Frankfurt fingering in the Meadow colorway. It's one of my favorite tops, especially warmer weather tops. I'm just starting to knit those, but this is tops on my list. I usually like V-necks. It's a little unusual that I would like something that's more crew neck, but this is a really great pattern. So it's been a busy couple of weeks since I last recorded, and now that reminds me of what I was going to say. It is episode number 11. I've never really remembered to say that, so I've been trying to remember to say that. I'll get better at it. 11 episodes in, still can't figure that out. So it's like I said, it's been a busy couple of weeks at work, and I was traveling back to back. I did record an episode in between the travel, but only being home for a day and then traveling again can be difficult. I was home this past week, but we're just ramping up what we do at my job, so there hasn't been a lot of evening knitting time. So we went up to Washington, D.C. last week. I say we because my husband went with me, even though it was a work trip. I go up there about once a quarter for my job since I work remotely, but my job is headquartered out of the D.C. area since it is a military program. So I know I mentioned this on Vlogmas, but not everybody watched Vlogmas, right? And you don't remember everything that I've said. Just because I've said it at some point doesn't mean you know. But I had four states that I had never traveled to prior to this past week. West Virginia was one of them. The others are New Jersey, Delaware, and Rhode Island. So someday I'm going to make a trip and probably knock out all three of those at the same time. But because I had never been to West Virginia, and I don't know, the timing was just right. So my husband and I actually went up a day early. Well, it was still a day early. We went up a day early and stayed the night in West Virginia, and then went and tootled around a little bit. Not very far into West Virginia. I actually had plans to do a lot more, but the weather turned on us a little bit. It got snowy, which I did not get mad at. I love the snow. I miss the snow, so I was okay with that. But it did change our plans a little bit. So we just kind of barely scooted into West Virginia, and then we stayed in a town called Martinsburg, again, barely in West Virginia, and then went to Harper's Ferry and walked around there, and it was very empty and quiet. It was a Monday morning when we were doing this, and I just don't think there's a lot of activity. It was cold out. So we were really the only people walking around, and we didn't really go in anywhere. Most of the places were closed, but we just walked around and explored that, and I got to check West Virginia off my list. I will be back. I will do more. I had other things I wanted to do, but at least I can say I have been there just a little bit for a day or so. And then we headed into Washington, D.C., and because a normal travel day for work would be 8 or 9 hours of driving to DC, and we had already done that the day before. We got into DC fairly early that day and did some things that I hadn't done before, even though we go up there fairly often. So we went to Ford's Theater, where, of course, President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, and then we went across the street to where he actually died. It's part of the whole Ford's Theater tour, but like I said, I had never done that before. Even though I'm there fairly often. It's hard to fit those fun things in when you're traveling for work. So I'm trying to, at least do something fun every time I go. We eat at a lot of good places when we are up in DC, though. That is fun. There's a place called Old Ebbitt Grill. It's very near the White House. It's a really old bar restaurant, and because of its proximity to a lot of things, you'll get important people, famous people. I saw Flava Flav standing out there last time we ate there. It's just a really cool restaurant, a really neat vibe, and they have good food too. So we eat there often when we go. And I think I took footage of all of this. So as soon as I'm done talking here in a moment, we're going to pop in some of the footage of my whole West Virginia, DC trip. We also ate at a place called Gadsby's, which is in Old Town Alexandria, so in Virginia. And I can't remember, the footage is going to show you, but it's been a restaurant, a tavern since 1770 something, 1760 something. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, they frequented this place. It was a fairly common gathering place, and it's a part museum, which I have never been to because, again, my work schedule, we always go there to eat, but I've never done the museum part. Still didn't do the museum part this time, but we did eat dinner there again. I was there for work, obviously, in the DC area, and one of the days we went to Fort McNair, which is a really small fort in DC proper, right across the Potomac River from DCA, Reagan National Airport, and literally, on the river itself. We had an event that we were doing for work there, and those old forts, they just have all the history and the old buildings, and there was wallpaper with murals of, we were trying to decipher because it didn't actually say anywhere, but events or places that were historically significant, probably especially to the Army and or the Navy, but just a really cool place. And I took a tiny bit of footage of what we were doing there for work, and looking out the window at the Potomac, because there's high security there, and the event we were doing, we can't really talk about what we were doing there. So I was very careful. I'm trying to not violate any OPSEC rules, but still I was capturing a little bit just because it was really cool, and I kind of wanted to remember it. So I'm going to have Bert pop in some clips now from that. So we're doing this a little out of order. It's just chaos up in here, right? That's why it's kind of loopy. So, still not ready to talk about knitting. I gotta kind of explain some other things that have happened this week. So, while I was gone, and my husband, we were gone up in DC the previous week, Bert got up to some shenanigans. You might even notice, well, I've got things hanging here that are blocking it, but if you have an astute eye, the yarn looks a little different behind me, and it was something I wanted to do to reorganize all of this, and it's reorganized in a way that's aesthetically pleasing for me. I'm not even going to show you what's in the drawers down below because they are just a mess of skeins that have been partially used. They're scraps. There's all sorts of things going on. I still have yarn in tubs under beds, in closets. There's yarn all over the place. I know where it's all at. It's not like I've forgotten what I have here, but I needed to reorganize this right behind me because it was kind of ugly and messy. You pull things out and you put things back and then you buy new things. And so it needed to be done. But Bert helped me find the motivation that I was lacking. But I'm going to let her tell you about that. So let's go see what Bert got up to while I was in DC.
Hey. I was in Vlogmas, but this feels scarier. Like, it's the actual pod. Oh, Josh is making fun of me. But, hi, I'm here to steal my mom's yarn in protest for the fact that she has not made me a Harry Styles cardigan. And I'm filming it so then she can't be as mad because it's for it's footage. It's content. Marsh, do you have something to say? Okay, so basically, I have been asking on and off for a Harry Styles cardigan since he wore it in 2021. 2021. And she's always told me no. But then when she started this pod, I hyped it up more because, well, one, she needs things for content, but also I'm editing. So, I don't know, compensation. And so she said, oh, maybe for your college graduation, which is in May of 2027. And I was like, that's far, but you know what? A win is a win. Then we were at Single the other night, and she went, I brought it up again, and she went, I never said I would make you that. And I said, you said maybe. And she was like, well, stop pressuring me because I don't want, like, it makes me not want to do it. And I said, valid, but I'm still going to pressure her. So this is in protest. This was planned back in February 4th. I came up with this idea, but I had to wait till she's out of town, which she's out of town this week. So this gives me opportune time to steal her yarn. But then the Crafty Dawn, shout out to you. You mentioned something about leaving out specific yarn for the cardigan. So I'm now going to steal her yarn minus the colors that are in the cardigan. I don't know which yarn is technically supposed to be made. There's my dog. For like cardigans or like I don't know. So I'm just gonna pick colors that are similar and just leave them in there. And I'm just stating I know yarn is a special thing to people, so I'm taking a photo of the shelf prior, and I'm putting it away very carefully and hiding it from her because, well, I'm not gonna get anywhere if I actually injure her yarn. So that, and also I would be mad if someone did this to me. So I will be putting it all back when I'm done with the protest, but I just need her to come home and see that I will steal all her yarn if she does not make me a Harry Styles cardigan soon. That makes me sound really like a brat. Anyways, I'm also having help from my brother, so it's not just me. You're gonna be in the footage. I mean, okay, I'll redact it. I'm redacting it because apparently I wasn't supposed to say. Anyways, was there anything else I had to comment on before it's too late? I don't know. It doesn't need to be made tomorrow, the cardigan. I just want it to be confirmed that at some point I will get a Harry Styles cardigan. And no, I don't want to knit it myself because one, I'm not good enough, and two, she only ever makes me socks. All I get from my mom is socks. I got one blanket for college graduation, high school graduation, and I do love it. And the blanket she made, and some time ago she finished, she didn't really care for it, and I said I actually really loved it, so I got that, but she didn't make it for me. I just liked it and she didn't, so I got it. That's like, I only ever get socks, which socks are cool. I like socks, but I want a cardigan. Okay, anyways, on to the stealing. Okay, I got rid of my mic, so if the audio's bad, apologies. Anyways, first plan of attack, I have the Harry Styles cardigan pulled up, and I'm gonna find yarn that matches the cardigan close enough, you know. And then the plan is each shelf, I already took a photo. I know how it's set up. It's gonna be put back the way it is. We have tissue paper to wrap it up nicely so it doesn't get injured. And I do have Aldi bags, which each shelf hopefully is gonna fit in a bag. I feel like it'll be good. And then I'll like mark it and like I'm being organized about this, but that's the first plan. That's step one. Okay, we have cleared each bin. I left the yarn that resembles the cardigan as much as I could. She doesn't really have yarn that matches this cardigan all that well, but I did the best I could, and then I just hung up a photo so that way she knows. I also printed out a few smaller versions to hide. I'll show you one that will be obvious because it's like next to her bed. But when she pulls her blankets down, there will be a mini Harry Styles thing there. All the yarn has been safely put in my extra room, which I don't really go in here in the winter time because it's not heated or anything. So no cats can get in here and everything will be fine. But this is all her yarn. And I have a diagram of where everything goes. So yeah, it is currently Wednesday night. She gets home Friday like afternoon. So I will try and vlog her reaction, but I don't know. No promises. So hopefully she doesn't murder me.
What are you doing?
Looking at something?
Oh, I thought you were recording. Where's that basket? You were recording. What have you done?
So, needless to say, I had the motivation I needed to put the yarn back in an organized fashion. So thank you, Bert, for that. We have been looking at the Harry Styles cardigan pattern and looking at some yarn. Again, it's ugly, but she wants it so bad. So I've been on Knitpic's website. The pattern I have found is only one size because it was a pattern that was put out by the actual designer who made the one for Harry Styles. So it was made for him. I think it's a he, whoever made the original one. I think he's a British person. I could be just making stuff up right now. Anyway, the pattern that exists is one size because it was like Harry's size. And it's very oversized on him. And he's not a huge guy, but he's also not a tiny guy. He's bigger than Bert. So even though it's really oversized on him, I don't think that making exactly the size that they made for him is going to work for her. And if I'm going to do this, she needs to be able to wear it. And there's no gauge listed in the pattern, or maybe I didn't look hard enough. But most of the yarn that's used is a super bulky. So I'm thinking I'm going to probably go with like an Aran to bulky from Knitpicks and select appropriate size needles that I think make a good fabric and make it that way so that it's slightly smaller than the one that's in the pattern. but will still be oversized for her. So we're making those steps. So her shenanigans, her antics worked a little bit, but it's not going to be something that happens right away. We'll see. We'll see what I get up to. Okay, so then after I got back from DC, we got back on Friday evening, February 27th. And so then on February 28th, Saturday, my oldest daughter, Bree, and I went to a fiber festival in Chattanooga, which is about a half hour or so. Well, it's probably more like 45 minutes to get to downtown Chattanooga. But it's a fairly new festival. I think last year was the first year, but I was at the Knitty McPurly retreat last year when they held the first one. So this was the first time I went to it. And it's a fairly large festival, although I'm saying that not knowing what a lot of fiber festivals look like. I really haven't been to any. Very small ones, very small local ones, but not like big ones, right? With lots of vendors who come in from all over. That was really my first time, and I was absolutely overwhelmed. I couldn't stay very long, not only because I had things to do, but because I was so overwhelmed, and I wanted to buy from everybody. And so we have some clips from that. I'll actually let past Sarah and Bree explain what happened at the Scenic Stitches Fiber Festival. Okay, so we have a haul. Did I do a millennial pause?
A millennium for sure. Absolutely. No, you actually, I don't think you did, but Bert will edit it if you did, so, and make fun of you, I'm sure.
Okay, so we were at the Chattanooga, no, it's not Chattanooga. It's
in the city of Chattanooga.
It is in the city of Chattanooga.
Also known as the Scenic City.
Yes, which is why it's the Scenic City Fiber Festival, right? That's what it's called, Fiber Festival?
She got a tote.
I don't know. Scenic Stitches. Did I say Scenic City Fiber Festival?
Yeah.
Scenic Stitches Fiber Festival, Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's going on all weekend. They have classes, of course, and lots of vendors. Honestly, it was overwhelming to me when we walked in because there's so much yarn and it's so pretty and I loved all of it. But I didn't know where to start, and I felt guilty that I didn't buy from every single person in there.
So we only bought from people she already knew.
I only bought one thing.
I tried to ask if you wanted to do
well,
more.
And I spent too much.
Well, yeah, this is actually good, because otherwise you might be divorced.
Right. Well, it's gonna
and I
be just in time
parents who are still married,
to reorganize my yarn stash.
For reasons.
This bag, I don't think it's going to come across. It is so cool.
You can tell because we're all yellow.
I know, we're weird colors. It says curator of an extensive private fiber collection. This is from Fangirl Fibers. The only place I bought yarn from in there, who I have bought yarn from many times online. So it's kind of silly that I did that. And we got a handful of stickers. That's what drew us in the first place. So stickers for everybody. Then I got a Gilmore Girls. It doesn't say it on here either. She had special Gilmore Girls labels, but this is for sure a Gilmore Girls colorway. It's Kim's Antiques, so of course it is. And it was with all the Gilmore Girls colors, but superwash merino, stellina, acrylic nips. Very sparkly, very tweedy, fingering weight. I don't know what those will be. Then I got the Exploration of the Galaxy collection. It's Star Wars themed.
Okay, you can't use copyrighted words.
Oh, sure. So that's why it's not Star Wars
collection.
It's in the Boba Fett colorway. I just thought it was really pretty, and I think we've decided that Jackson, her boyfriend, is going to get more socks. I knit him socks last Christmas, and he needs another pair because he's knit worthy. And then this was Grand Admiral Thrawn, also Star Wars. I don't know who that is.
Her son will though, yep. And he'll think it's funny.
So he's gonna get socks out of those. That's it. That's all I got.
I got this. It's Nessie, aka the Loch Ness Monster, because that's fun. It's technically a hat kit, so it comes with like a little doodad to go on it. But I probably won't make a hat. I don't know. I haven't decided. I don't knit with intention.
That's the fun of being you.
Yeah, I just kind of do stuff. And then sometimes she tells me, you probably shouldn't use that yarn for that. And I go,
Yeah, it's all right.
I'm going to do it anyway.
So this is a DK weight. Each are 50 grams, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so this was her Cryptids, Myths, and Legends collection.
They also had Mothman, but his just wasn't as cute. So
I'm wearing my Anker's tee. That's a Petite knit. We were looking at a Petite knit sweater in there. This is a Petite knit pattern with Cestari Yarns.
The one
it's cotton.
In there that had lots of lace, and I talked about
it was
when
a V-neck.
I knit a sweater
V-neck.
in college. It was the first sweater I ever knit, maybe the only sweater I'll ever knit, and I knit it without having a gauge because I don't knit with intention. And it was giant. It went down to my knees because it was lacy,
now a tunic.
and I don't even know where it is because it doesn't even count as a tunic. It goes beyond tunic levels.
You could put a belt on it.
That was a thought that I had. That was probably the only way it would be wearable. I probably should have just knit like a little belty thing out of the same yarn and just put it on there. I probably still could. I have all that yarn still. I'll just knit it really small and then it'll stretch out and look huge because it does that. I didn't know. I was just knitting in lectures and I was like, yeah, sweater. But
you could make a shawl, a hat. You could make
I might
DK
make
weight
a shawl.
socks.
Or like,
you're bored with socks though, right now.
I'm so bored. I hate Kitchener stitch.
You should do Toland link.
Well, that sounds like I'd have to learn something new.
Okay, you're going to the boat show in Knoxville now?
Yeah.
I gotta go mail Sarah May her present, her package, her gift.
And then go knit a Harry Styles cardigan.
Right, and then I gotta deal with that. Okay, bye.
Now we can get into the actual knitting, the loose ends. I have nothing finished. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. But I have been working on a couple of things. I don't have very much because of all that stuff I was getting up to, but I did come home from DC to find, my Knitty McPurly March 5 mini skeins for the Knitty McPurly Blanket Club. So I did add those into my bounce blanket. So if I kind of scrunch this up, starting from this gray, we've got gray, pink, a purplish, minty color, and then a darker pink. Those were January's colors, right? And so then February's colors were kind of this berry, maybe magenta color. I love this color, by the way. I want this to be a permanent color in the Knitty McPurly rainbow. Just saying, in tint if she's listening. And so that one, then we had just several pinks down to this greenish one that has some pink speckles and stuff in it. That was February. And so then the March are the most recent 5 that I've added. We've kind of got a coral, a greenish with some coral speckles, then a green that is very similar to Meadow. I hadn't even thought about that till right now, but that might even be, how she does Meadow. And then a darker coral, and then a lighter green. So I really love how this is coming out so far. I did mention, I think last time I showed this, that I was worried about it getting too long and being proportionately not wide enough. So I'm a quarter of the way through this year. So if I add 3/4 more in height, I do think it's going to be weirdly long, but not weirdly enough that it bothers me. I'm just going to see how things go. And if I need to modify meaning I make 2, I'll decide that at the halfway point. But I really, really love this. The Bounce Blanket by Tin Can Knits. And I am using Knitty McPurly's Jovis colorway in between each of the color stripes. So it's entirely Knitty McPurly, but the colored stripes themselves are what are part of the blanket club. So I love that one. What else did I work on? Oh, so this is a top I cast on our trip in DC. This is an EnolaV, and it's by Jennifer Shiels Toland. So I have just recently separated, or it wasn't separating. It was joining, goodness. I recently joined the front and the back, so I've got just a couple of inches under the arm. It's got this great detail that goes down the sides on each side, and it's got that detail across the top of the sleeves. It's got it's just basically a ribbed edge on the V, but that makes it look neat and tidy, and it's finished, right? I don't have to go back and pick anything up or do anything else with that. The back also has it's a twisted rib detail. I just really like the finishing touches on this. I think it's really polished and classic. So I hope to have this done soon because I'm not working on a whole lot other than this right now. And this is using Knitty McPurly's Virginia Woolen Spun yarn. This is the fingering weight. I showed the swatch that I used last time. And this is in the Valentine colorway. So it is a 50% American Rambouillet, 50% Virginia cotton wool that she gets, or Virginia cotton from Cestari Yarns in Virginia. So all of this is totally Virginia made all the way around, right? It's grown, it's spun, it's milled, it's all of that good stuff in Virginia. And then, of course, Devin takes it and dyes it in Virginia. I really love, it's very soft, so soft. It's even softer knit up than it is to touch in the skeins. And of course the cotton gives it a very heathered look that I just love. I can't get enough of this. I just keep stopping as I'm knitting on the top and I stare at just the color, the texture that the color gives because of the heatheredness. This has been a saga too, right? I started these in the beginning of February, and it is, still, I guess, early March, but we're approaching mid-March. You can kind of see I had some jog stuff going on there. It doesn't bother me, and this is on legs, and so I don't do any method to try and avoid jogless stripes. I know there are some out there, and I have done them before. I just don't care on a sock. But this is just a vanilla sock that I have one done. I am probably about to right here on the second sock. And of course I'm doing them toe up. So, I'm almost to the point where I'm going to start striping again and then do the cuff on the second one. But it's probably 6 weeks at this point. And I mean, it might be another week before I get through even this part of the second sock. I still have Freckled Whimsy Christmassy Yarn Club socks that I got the February colorway that I haven't even started yet. I have them wound up, or I have the yarn wound up in a skein or in a bag here from Woolen Works Designs. But this is the February one. I haven't started yet, right? It's still just sitting here waiting to be socks. This was Gingerbread Kisses and Christmas Wishes. These are going to get cast on. They might even get cast on today, just in anticipation that these will be done soon. And as soon as I finish these, I never like to be without a sock that's already ready to go. So I want like the toe already done on the next pair, because I know sometimes emergency movies pop up and I have to have knitting to take with me. So I may cast on those Christmas ones here soon, but I still have, about 3 inches or so of the second sock for this to go. This was 3 by the Sea Designs in their Memories of Paris sock set. I got this in 2024, right before Valentine's Day, and they did bring it back out this year for Valentine's Day. So I don't know if there's any available in their Etsy shop still, but this was something they were recently offering. The main skein color is Memories of Paris, and then the contrast, this is La Vie en Rose, and what I have in the toe is Café au Lait. I never can see what I'm holding up. I hope I'm actually showing you what I'm talking about when I do it. I cast on fewer stitches with these socks. I've mentioned for a couple episodes that my gauge has somehow loosened up so significantly in the past couple of months. It's like I'm a new knitter. I've made hundreds of pairs of socks before, and the last maybe 5 now have have been way bigger than they should be. So I tried casting on fewer socks or fewer stitches with this one. It's still big, and this is hanging off the edge of my blocker, which they didn't used to do. So I think my next experiment will be to just shorten the leg up, or the foot up. I do 70 rounds, and that's worked for years, but maybe I need to cut it back to 65 or even 60, because this isn't cutting. It's just so loose. I don't want to go down in needle size, which I feel like maybe is where this is headed, but I'm going to rule everything else out first. So something's weird in socks with me lately. I have, of course, my Sunday blanket rotation. You saw a little bit of the habitation throw in the footage earlier that I was working on in our trip to DC. I did some Battenberg squares last week. Yes, that was last Sunday's rotation. I mean, the squares are not really exciting. I'm kind of looking at it. You wouldn't know. I mean, I just made 8 more squares. I have 62 now, and I need hundreds. So nothing exciting to show there. I don't think I've ever showed, well, maybe at the very beginning, my first episode when I kind of introduced all of my blankets. This is my Jelly Roll blanket. This is in a rotation on Sundays as well. I have 3 strips completed, and I'm working on the 4th strip. So this is for K, or by K of the Bakery Bears, which, I mean, gosh, do I even have to address that? I think we're all heartbroken about the loss of Dan. It's like surreal. I don't even know what to say about that. Prayers with the whole family. I can't imagine what that's like for Kay and Bryony. And I know he was sick, but it felt very sudden to me. I'm assuming it felt sudden to them as well. Anyway, so just doing a Kay Jones pattern has kind of been making me think about her. I love this blanket. I use Kayla Litton's. She has modifications that she's posted in her Ravelry page for this. So just the way I'm picking up strips, I do what Kay has done. It just kind of makes those seams pop a little bit more. I absolutely think this is a great pattern, and I love what the strips look like, and it's garter stitch, right? This should be the ultimate comfort knitting to me, but for some reason, when it's this blanket's week, I get far less done on this blanket than all the other blankets I have in the rotation. Like, I get distracted, I think, because the rows are so short. There's only 20 stitches, I think, on each row, so it's a lot of turning back and forth. And I don't know, this blanket is just taking way longer than it should. But because of that, I don't usually show it, even when it's been worked on, because it's so hard to tell. I think I've been on this 3rd strip for several months, or 4th strip, I guess. I barely make it through a color on a Sunday. A lot of times I probably don't even make it through a color. We're going to my daughter Bree's boyfriend's house for dinner this afternoon. That they're having us over, and this isn't really something I'll take with me. So again, it's gonna miss out on a lot of potential knitting for a Sunday. All right, the only thing that I'm gonna do now is share my acquisition, my singular acquisition. Well, other than what you've already seen in other videos. So not only do I have to cast on the February skein from a Freckled Whimsy Christmassy Sock Club, but my March skein has now arrived. I even like this one better, so I want to get to this one. I guess that's good, that this is good motivation to get to these ones next. This one is called Santa Paws, like paws, like a dog. Or I guess it could be a cat, but I think dog. So this is what came in the mail. Now I've got to hurry up and get the Memories of Paris socks done, and then cast on the other Freckled Whimsy Christmassy Sock Club yarn, and then maybe I can catch up. Maybe I can at least get these started before April's skein arrives. All right, well, thank you for being with me. Thank you for putting up with all of the loopiness. I don't know if it bothers people that maybe sometimes there's less knitting content and then I share too much about what we're getting up to. It's hard. There's actually a really blurry line for me between the straight knitting content and the rest of my life because it's all incorporated, right? And I think most of you probably relate to that as well. But thank you. If you're still hanging on with me, I appreciate all the feedback and the support. It's been really busy, so I've had a harder time responding to comments. I do read them all. I hear podcasters say this all the time. I read all of your comments. I just, I at least try to heart them. I get that now, and I don't even have the volume of comments and viewers that some people do, but it can be hard to sit down and find that time. I just want you to know, even if it takes me a long time, I appreciate that you're leaving comments and interacting with me, and then I hope you will continue to do so. And my work schedule will ebb and flow, so it'll let up at some point, and I'll like kind of dive back into that a little bit more, just the circle of life, right? So I hope you all have had a good past couple of weeks. I hope your coming 2 weeks are good. And I think, I will see you all again on March 24th for episode 12. So happy knitting in the meantime. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you next time.